morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Daily Word. Glad you could join me this morning for our ongoing conversation in this season of Advent, and as we journey through Scripture and continue these building blocks for our lives. We continue today as we approach the end of this week in December and inch closer to Christmas and the celebration of all of that and what that means. We gathered last night for our Advent Wednesday night. We talked a bit more about peace, and it was an interesting discussion. Shared some great food, some great soup and salad from Deb, and some excellent cookies from Mindy. So we were grateful for them for helping us out with that. So this morning is Daily Word number 638. And as always, thanks for being with me and carving out time to be with me, and for saying good morning when you join, or good afternoon, or whenever it is. It's just a reminder that we're staying connected. I was talking yesterday when I was at therapy in Coldwater yesterday morning. I was talking to my therapist, and we're talking about church, and of course she's Catholic from Mercer County, and we were talking about that, and talking about this daily word, and that how it all started way back in March of 2020, and the pandemic and all of that, and you know how I had planned probably for this daily word to be a couple of weeks. And I told her that yesterday was daily word number 637, and she couldn't believe it. So anyway, it's just an interesting conversation, but it's been good. And I think it's been good just to continue to have these conversations together on a daily basis, or as daily as we can, I guess, when other things get in the way. It gets pushed aside once in a while, and but we try to make up for that. So today, from Isaiah 45, chapter 45, verse 3, I apologize, we hear these words: I will give you the treasures of darkness and riches hidden in secret places, so that you may know that it is I, the Lord, the God of Israel, who calls you by name. So I got to thinking about what this means for us. And you know, I'm a lover of water. I like to swim. I used to like to swim. I really don't swim much anymore. We have a couple of swim ponds at the lake where we are, and I sometimes swim there, especially if I'm there during the week and no one else is around. I wouldn't exactly call what I do swim, but I like to get in the water. I love being at the lake. Yesterday, I was making the drive from Coldwater through Lima, and of course I had to go past Grand Lake St. Mary's, and it's incredible. Just drove right beside it, and I was thinking about the vastness of the water. And there's the canal feeders there, and you know, they dug the canal, they dug the lakes, built the canal that didn't ever really take shape. And how disappointing that must have been. But all of these years later, I got to thinking about the fact that they did the hard work of digging the lakes, the Great Lakes, the Grand Lakes, the Indian Lake, St. Mary's, you know, all these lakes, because now they're treasures for us. And I'm just reminded of how sometimes being at the lake and the gift of water can give us healing, can give us strength, can give us energy as we live our lives. I also think about for us in this Advent journey, and we talked about it a bit yesterday, how in the season of Advent where we're called to light and light candles, the darkness is really pervasive. We talked a bit about it last night, and I've continued to say it, you know, that we have the audacity, and I said it last night, we have the audacity to believe that if we offer peace to one person, just one, that multiplies, and that peace can make a difference in the world. And so Isaiah reminds us in this text that it is God, the God of Israel, who calls us by name. And that reminder to me is that we're called by name by God. And that it's a reminder to me that we matter, that personally we matter, that you and I matter. And these gifts of God in creation, water and light and darkness, they matter. You know, they're gifts of God, gifts that are given to us in our lives. And I'm reminded that we're called to listen clearly for God's voice, even in the midst of darkness. Last night, when I left the church, we got everything cleaned up. I went to choir practice. Then I went to my office for a little bit. This therapy schedule and driving all the way to Coldwaters is messing with my trying to get things done. And we were at choir practice last night talking about Christmas Eve, and they were giving me a bit of grief last night that I don't have that all planned yet. And they said, well, we'll just do it for you, which I'm certainly they could do that. So I was in my office trying to finish up a few things, and it was after 9 o'clock, and I finally decided to leave. And so I went outside in that vast darkness of after 9 o'clock, and it's been dark for a while, of course. And driving home, and how quiet it was, there weren't many cars in the street. Driving home, and I'm just reminded in this text, in our lives, I will give you the treasures of darkness and riches hidden in the secret places, so that you may know that it is I, the Lord, the God of Israel, who call you by name. Us, you and I, we're called by name by God, who then moves in us and shows us these, well, as Isaiah says, these riches hidden in secret places. You know, I'm like you in the sense probably that, you know, we like to not have secret hidden things. We like just have them just flow at us in powerful, strong ways. But the scripture reminds us that God meets us in the quiet, dark places of our life. Not dark because we're in a bad place, but dark because it's dark when we're asleep, when we're just being in this place where God can meet us right where we are. And I don't know about you, but I find solace in the fact that God calls us by name. Sometimes dark places, secret places where we don't know where we're going, sometimes they frighten us. But we're called to continue to go and to light the candle of hope and peace, and this week, the candle of joy. And we're going to hear from Isaiah 35, who reminds us that the desert and the dark, barren places, new life springs forth in them because of what God is doing. And I believe in this Advent season, God's continuing to do that with us and through us and for us in all of our lives. So, may you know of God who calls you by name. In the dark places, in the hidden places where treasure is, know that it is God who calls you by name. And may that be a good thing for you today as we share our lives together. So, know of God's love today that surrounds you. Know my love for you. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Have a great day.